Chris Burnett, Green Dragon Tai Chi. We're here at North Coast BJJ with head instructor Kyle Heido and his uncle Frank, one of my best friends in life. See, that's when the editing comes in. I'll cut that out. All right, so I wanted to just look at posture, like we talked about posture in Tai Chi as well as BJJ, and how, like in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, one of the things we want to do is break the person down, like when you have them in your guard. And so posture becomes very important. And in Tai Chi, standing posture is important. So let me just demonstrate some of the things that we do to test our posture. So we stand in what we call like a Wuji posture, where if my feet are shoulder width, and the idea is I want to release as much tension as possible and relax so that my skeleton supports my body and the muscles and tissues get pulled down naturally with gravity. So if you just touch my shoulder, say you're sideways here, yeah, and you kind of push over a little bit, yeah. So I just kind of relax, and I can let his energy go up the way that he pushed, but I just allow it to go down into my foot. And one of the things that he doesn't feel pushing in is he doesn't feel me like leaning back against it and fighting. If I did and he moved his hand, I would kind of fall like that. So if I just relax down, and this is just me kind of standing straight up, so this leg empties out, this leg kind of fills up. I can, of course, go wider, deeper, but here I'm just trying to stand up naturally, breathing nice and deep. So let me show you another one. This one, just touch here on my chest, and he's gonna push in a little bit. So I kind of cave in a little, and he can push harder, right? So I'm still going. Eventually I would go, like if you push harder, I would go. But it's a little bit, you can feel the heaviness there. So one of the things I can do is start to separate and move different pieces so he pushes in again, and I can kind of rotate that way, and then I've got other things I can do there. So one more time, just push in, so I sink and just turn. So this is what we call like a rollback energy. So this is some of the things that we do in Tai Chi as we do our forms. We're envisioning connecting to a person, and if their energy's coming in, we can kind of move different pieces of the body and still keep the posture. So I like to do that in tournaments as well. Absolutely. But it gets a little different because if I'm standing straight up and I can do all this defense up here, but maybe Kyle wants to do something with my legs. Let's actually go ahead and do a double leg. Take me down, that's fine. So he comes in, takes me in. All right, so I'm gonna try and root against that now. So this is what we're always doing, is called rooting. Probably won't work, right? I don't think it will. So I just relax, I root, he comes in, yeah, I'm gone. So, and why? Leverage and mechanics, right? So if there's nowhere for my legs to go, when he wraps my legs, the energy of his upper body, his shoulder, whatever it is, kind of creates that upward pressure up top, and so there's a splitting energy where it takes me down. So how can I defend against that? I need to kind of keep that same idea of relaxing and rooting, but I've got to have a little bit of a better stance, right? A little bit more forward pressure. So actually, let me try and shoot on you, and you're just going to stop it. Maybe frame and stop it.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hands first.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So as I come in, yeah. So even there, I didn't even get a chance to close there. So not only does it allow him to frame against me, but he can see it a lot better because we're almost on the same level. So actually, I'm gonna have you shoot in this time and let you get a little closer there as he comes in here. So just right here, I can frame against the shoulders, or even using the forearms or hands. Go ahead and try and suck it up. Yeah. All right. Right. So just the mechanics and the angle kind of stop that. For sure. Yeah, so we try and incorporate all of those. All right, let me, how about if I put you in my guard? Sure. And we'll talk about posture from the BJJ standpoint.
Sure.
Sideways.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the stuff we talk about, that Chris was talking about up on the feet, is very similar to what we do when we stand, doing self-defense, right? If a person's pushing or pulling, right? Sort of our basic and sort of self-defense lessons. We talk about a lot of the same exact stuff, right? Kind of rooting down through the feet, not sort of pushing or pulling against the crazy guy, but rather just trying to stand your own ground. So a lot of those principles in Jiu-Jitsu, Tai Chi, and all martial arts, I'm sure, are very similar, if not identical, right? Up on the feet when it comes to not getting moved by a crazy guy. Down on the ground, it's a little bit different, especially because this person has a much sort of more encompassing connection to me, right? It's not just one hand pushing or pulling or grabbing my wrist. Rather, he's got two pretty strong sort of tools here, his legs, that are completely wrapped around me. So if I'm not sort of super smart about my mechanics, it can be very hard for me to keep myself up, right? So some things we like to think about, just sort of basic guard posture, is I want to use my hips and sort of my back to keep myself up as much as possible. There's a tendency to want to use the arms sort of as kickstands to really keep ourselves up here. But again, I sort of think about base on the feet is a lot like posture down on the ground, and then I want to use my legs and my hips and my core more than my arms, right? Those are going to be sort of my stronger tools. And I'm going to need my arms to do certain things, right? Down on the ground, whether I'm trying to strike this person in an MMA or a street fight or whatever, I'm trying to open the legs and get around, whether we're grappling, fighting, self-defense, whatever I'm trying to do, I'm going to need my hands, right, for one thing or another. So if my hands are completely committed to keeping me up, it's going to be hard for me to do anything else, right? And an experienced guy is going to be able to sort of break me down, and then all of a sudden
Let's
I'm
show up.
Sure. So one of the main things I like to try and do.
Let me show breaking you down.
Go ahead. Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Sure.
so you're there, you're super strong here. Back in. Bring them in here.
Perfect, right? If I get broken down, exactly, I got sort of a big problem there. So the more weight I put on my hands, the easier it is for Chris to do that, right? So I don't want my hands to keep me up. I want it to be my legs and my hips. So a couple little things we like to think about. First things first is I like to bring my knees in just a touch. 1, 2. I like to arch my back like a cat, not like I'm leaning, but rather like I'm arching like I got bad posture at the dinner table. And then I like to use my hips, almost like I'm doing a kettlebell swing, to keep myself up. We call it almost like tucking our tailbone. Right now my hips are pointed at Chris super square, but if I just do a little rotation and I rotate my hips underneath me, I get much, much harder to pull, right? When I feel someone pulling with my legs, all I'm gonna do is engage my glutes and push my hips forward. So if the guy does a pull, it's a lot easier for me to stay up. And now my hands are free, again, to either keep him down, start to open the legs, do whatever I'm trying to do. But if I take those things away, right, I widen my knees and I think about sort of traditional posture with my back super straight, and I use my arms to keep myself up, pull me in again, look how I instantly start to go forward and have a problem, right? So just like up on the feet, if I root myself to my core, hips, and legs, my hands are free to defend myself or strike or sort of do whatever I'm trying to do, escape. Same deal goes down on the ground. If I root myself through my legs, back, and core and hips, now all of a sudden my hands can push you to the floor, and a lot of the heavy lifting is done with my bigger muscles. So if I need to start to open the legs, my hands are free to do so without sort of keeping me up all the same.
Very good. Thank you. And then from there, you could either engage if you're BJJ, or you could escape
for sure
if you want it for self-defense, if you want to get out of that situation. Very good.
Nice.